Data centres are increasing in importance. As companies generate more and more data in the form of emails, accounts and customer information, storing data is now not just a question of a few CD backups. The modern data centre uses a huge amount of power, and as data storage is increasing, it's becoming a significant part of a company's CO2 emissions.
I'm in a data centre in Docklands in East London. There's row after row of server racks just like this. It's pretty noisy, as you can probably hear, and it's also quite cold. There are vents placed around the floor with gusts of cold air coming up, and that's because a typical server, say in this rack, can generate as much heat as a domestic oven. Now, the power required for this entire building is the same power as required for about 10,000 homes. That's the same as a small town.
In the US, over 1.5% of the country's total energy consumption goes on data centres. So how can we make data centres more cost efficient and reduce their CO2 emissions?
I personally believe that it's much better to demonstrate efficiencies, and we've been testing fuel cells, for example, in our Paris data centres very successfully. And in Amsterdam, we recently opened a site in April of this year where we're taking heated water that has been used to cool the data centre floors and channel it directly into a local hospital, so thus saving them the need to heat water to heat the hospital itself. And that's real saving as far as we're concerned.
Lasercharm, a new player in this market, is hoping to build a new plant that uses half the power of a normal data centre and will be the greenest in Europe.
As you'll see, we've got 100 acres of land here. The roads are already in, the street lighting's in. But the heart of why we're building here is the power station. The power station is straw burning, so it's obviously 100% green. A traditional data centre of this size would actually be using 75 megawatts of electricity. Because we're using absorption chilling, we don't need electricity for that. So we've reduced the electricity consumption from 75 megawatts to 34 megawatts.
But of course, consuming less power has cost implications. Can even a new generation of energy-efficient data centres really be described as green?
I think the concept of a green data center is impossible. It's like saying that your SUV is green just because you have better fuel mileage consumption. The question is, why would you do it? If you have a data center that's more power efficient, it saves you on the cooling costs as long as the data center vendor passes on the cost savings to you. And plus, if you have efficient infrastructure, that helps you to save costs too. So in a downturn, we would argue that as long as you can have more power efficient equipment, it helps you.
With older servers such as these coming to the end of their natural life, there's an opportunity for some companies to put newer, more efficient kit into data centres. But what are the top priorities for customers when it comes to storing data? It's always going to be security and availability. Going green, of course, is important, but in an economic downturn, the crucial thing is staying in the black, not necessarily going green. Rob Minto for the Financial Times in London.